everyone, it's Katie from So Old Fashioned, and look, I'm in short sleeves. It's finally warm enough. I think summer might be here. Well, spring at the very least, but it is a lovely day here, and as much as I am a bit jealous of everyone going into autumn and fall, I'm really liking the sunshine and the longer days. It's very nice. Well, there's still 24 hours long, but there's more sunlight in them. But I will stop rambling because today I'm not intending to ramble at you forever. I'm actually intending to show you my sewing area. I'm going to take you to all the corners of my sewing area and just show you where I create magic, or at the very least, skirts and dresses and things, and a lot of underwear, let's not forget that. I really enjoy seeing other people's sewing rooms, so I hope you enjoy my tour. My space is not super clean, but it's not really messy, and I just wanted to invite you in, and I hope you feel at home. Welcome to my sewing space. I thought I would give you a bit of an overview to show you what the whole place looks like. It's a tiny bit of a mess, but it's probably a bit neater than it's been for a while. But I want you to see that I don't work in a pristine sewing space, and I'm okay with that. For no reason whatsoever, I've decided to start our tour in the ironing department. You can see my forbidden fabrics that I purchased in the front there that I need to iron. They've been washed, but they need a bit of ironing, and some elastic for a project. And I also have a sleeve ironing board that's sitting down flat at the moment, which I bought for $6 at a market the other day, which was fabulous. The ironing board itself is rather old. I mean, not, excitingly old, like 10 years old. You could sort of feel the bits of chipboard or whatever through the surface when I was ironing on it. So I bought a new felted ironing board cover for it as part of a birthday present, and it is like a brand new ironing board, and I'm so glad I didn't have to buy a new one because I really didn't want to. You can also see in this photo the bookshelf that has a whole bunch of sewing related stuff, and that's not actually an apple core on the top, it's a wood carving of an apple core, which I absolutely love. It's kind of cute. My mannequin is next door. I don't actually use it as a fitting mannequin because I can't get it to even be remotely like me, but it is handy for throwing stuff on. You can see, shamefully, my hot pink cardigan, which still does not have buttons, and I made that ages ago. On top of that is my wool skirt, and on top is my chambray skirt, which is part of my 5-piece holiday wardrobe, and that is coming along well. If you're wondering what's attached to the bottom of the mannequin, it is a reusable shopping bag, and one of the handles is almost worn away. So I'm going to patch that so we can continue to using it. Yes, good English. So we can continue to use it. Now here we have the sewing table, the place where it all happens. My main sewing machine is my Bernina 801, which is from 1982. It's really, really nice. It's having slight tension issues at the moment, but it's still sewing well enough that it's not bothering me, but I may be sending it for a service with my mum's sewing machine guy, who lives 3.5 hours away. But he's a really good sewing machine guy, so it's worth it. We have my little bowl for my threads, which is a Nando's mousse bowl, because Nando's chocolate mousse is the best thing in the world. And I really wish I hadn't given up sugar, because that means I'll never have a Nando's chocolate mousse again. But at one point they were giving away the mousses in little bowls instead of the plastic containers, and that's just the right size for putting threads and little scraps in. Next to that we have my caddy, which is a lovely shade of pink. It was $2 at an op shop, a second-hand shop, and it is seriously one of the best things I've ever bought because everything just goes in there, including my 3 packets of pins, and there's a 4th one you just can't see out of there. I want to ask, how many different types of pins do you guys have? Let me know in the comments, because I have 3 different types that are on regular rotation and one that's just extra in case I run out, which is never going to happen because who runs out of pins? I have 2 packets of just ordinary pins, 1 of ballpoint pins and 1 of flower-headed pins, and I feel like that's normal, so let me know if that's normal for you too. Next we have possibly the only sewing book you ever need, the Reader's Digest Complete Guide to Sewing. I believe this is one of the earliest editions. I think it might be the 2nd edition, and it is fabulous. Like if you have very limited space and you can only afford to store one sewing book, make it that one, because it has everything you ever need to know. The other stuff you can see on the table, the coaster is obviously vital for my cups of tea. You can see the skirt pattern that I'm currently working on and some other bits and pieces. The little Molly Makes purse that I'm going to make, which you would have seen if you follow me on Instagram. And the table itself is my grandparents' table. It was their dining table, and this is actually a dining room that we're in, but obviously I do more sewing than dining, so sewing rooms seem more practical. And it can actually extend either end, it can be a bit longer, but I haven't needed it to be longer here because I have lots of room everywhere else. But I love having my grandparents' dining room table as my sewing table because it makes me think of them when I'm sewing. Now we have a corner of my room. This used to be just a stack of tubs with fabric in it and some stuff on that I was going to sort out one day. Well, that day happened when I got back from my parents with that little corner unit that you can see, because I thought that would go perfectly there. Tubs of fabric are under that blanket that you can see at the bottom. The blanket normally goes on my chair when I'm not sewing because the cats love to sit on it and cover it in fur, and then I sit on it and then I become covered in fur. So I put the blanket in there as an intermediary. I have set up the little corner unit with some sort of practical things and some decorative things. So the second shelf that you can see there, that has all of the capsule wardrobe and also some fabric I'm using to make underwear. And then underneath you just have some more bits and bobs, my cute little sewing caddy that I take when I go up to my parents' place when I sew with my mum. And the little container on top of that has the instruction manual, the little tools, and the fashion discs, which are just a fancy name for cams, that go with my Blue Magic Singer. You will probably recognize some bits of this because it's behind me every time I record a video for you. But this is my bookshelf drawer combination. The sewing machine is actually sitting on the sort of bit that lifts up so you can get to the stuff that's in that section. I can't remember what I put in there because it's been so long since I could access it. And then there's a big old drawer underneath that has all of my vintage knitting patterns and some other patterns that I've cut out that are on thick paper that can't be folded. And behind Bluebell is some bits and bobs, patterns and pattern weights. And you can also see the box for my little sewing caddy, because I think the box is almost as good as the sewing caddy itself. That I bought for, I think it was $15 at an op shop, and I love it. And above that, I will just scroll you up a little bit. These are most of my sewing and knitting books. And if we just go up a bit higher, you can see my collection of photos from going on Pacific Island cruises with my friends. I think I counted the other day that I only have 8 books that I bought new in that entire collection. Everything else is secondhand or was given to me or cost very little at all. And my favourite section is right up the top left corner, just next to the TARDIS teapot. And those are my oldest books, so sewing and knitting mixed up together, and they are my very favourites. And this is the final section of my sewing room. Stuff on the left hand side is recent op shop purchases, and obviously a pirate hat. I mean, everyone has one of those, right? They are sitting on the cabinet for my Singer 201K that was given to me by my auntie-in-law. I do maybe one day plan to get it operational. I have a replacement treadle cord you can see next to it in front of the pirate hat, the necessary pirate hat. And in front of the machine is the buttonhole attachment, which I believe I showed in a video a while back. Next to this Singer is my little cabinet of drawers that are the perfect size for patterns. So a lot of my patterns are in there, but not all of my patterns. My patterns are all over the place. I will not promise to do a pattern collection video because I don't think you have 2 days to sit down and look at them all. There are so many, but if you are interested in seeing some of my patterns, do let me know, because I could pull them out and maybe do collections or make some sort of connection and say these are all my blue patterns. And sitting on top of that are just some sentimental little things and also a pen holder. So I have an old Simplicity coat pattern on the top there, a little sheep that my friend brought me back from New Zealand, and that little sort of bear thing behind it is Piedmont. He was my childhood toy, and yes, I did knit that jumper with the P on top of it. And no, he's not meant to be wearing a monocle. He was wearing glasses, but I stepped on his face one day by accident and and now he has a monocle instead. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing my sewing space. I have done a little bit of reorganizing, so I thought it looked presentable enough to share with you all. And I would love to see your sewing space as well. So if you've done a video of where you sew, please share a link with me below. Or if you are thinking about doing one, please do one, because I'm very nosy and I'd like to have a look around at where you sew. I hope you're having a fabulous time creating things and sewing and knitting and preparing for Christmas or whatever it is you're doing. I hope you're enjoying it. I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to stop, maybe go make a cup of tea, which is the way we go around here. Even when it's boiling hot, you can still have tea. That is my motto. One of my mottos. Not my only motto, because that wouldn't be very useful. Anyway, I will stop saying ridiculous things, and instead I will say goodbye, and I will catch up with you all again soon.